I recommend you rent one a fasten.
Hey. Out of it. You. Okay, y'all. So basically, what this is going to be is a Bowdrill tips and tricks. Now, one thing I want to show you for a bow. If this is going to be a bow you have for a long time, I got a trick for you. No spindle is going to be the exact same diameter. That's why I made on each end multiple notches. 1, 2, and on this one I have 3. 1, 2, 3. What that is so that you can move the cord up and down to adjust for the size of the spindle. If it's really thick, you can push it out or push it in to make it tighter. If it's really thin, you could push it out or push it in to adjust how tight you want it. Pretty simple. Now, the reason I got all this cord wrapped around right here is because it tried to break. And this is all primitive cords, mind you. I successfully did a primitive cordage bow drill yesterday, but the cord broke on my second try. It was actually probably about like my 6th try because I had trouble getting the cord to be tight enough. Alright. What I like to do is have 2 bow lines or bowlines. That way I can just adjust however tight I want it. You know, from 1 notch down, 1 notch up. Make it as tight as I want. And then just adjust. If that's too loose, move it up. Let's see if that works. Okay? If the ground is wet, you don't want your board on the ground. So you take this, and you can, that way, the board is being pushed down and it's stable, but your wet feet, wet boots aren't touching the board. You can, and to have it on top of a rock or something like that under it, keep it from getting wet. This ground isn't wet, it's bone dry, so we're good. Alright. Another thing, instead of popping it in to where you got that loop on the inside, have it so that the loop or the spindle is facing on the outside of the bow. In other words, see how the spindle is on the top side of the string rather than inside right here in the bow? If you do it like this, it'll be a little easier. I like to have basically this foot and this leg back here completely parallel with each other, so that I can get all the room I want back here for sawing or bowing, whichever you want to call it. I like to use, with my hand hold, I like to use leaves and stuff like that to put in it, so that way over time it's going to polish my drills. That way you don't really need lubricant. I like to start off going kind of hard, kind of slow, pacing myself. Get that dust build up. I like to use long and even strokes. I like to maintain the pressure and just speed up. And then once I get there, I stop and I let it sit there for a minute. But I didn't go far enough this time. I didn't make enough dust. So I gotta keep going. And then once again, let it sit there. Slowly release. Lift your foot off. There you go. And that's a pretty nice size coal. And when it's really like that, you don't need to blow on it, fan it, or anything like that, because it's big. Here, look. I tend to have a nag for getting very big coals. Alright. Your tinder bundle. You know, my favorite is cedar, due to the fact that it's the most common here. You want to get all that dust in there, and just go. And there you go. And you can use the same hole multiple times. If the drill starts to squeak, you're not applying enough pressure. Push it down a little harder. Squeaking could also indicate that the wood is too wet as well. But if you know the wood is just absolutely bone dry, like this is, if it starts to squeak, you're not putting off enough pressure. And a good cord, a good bow can last you a very long time. This is my home bow, and this is my home socket, or my home handhold. And this is my oak Bowdrill set. One of the reasons I really like this oak set is because I can use it and get so many coals out of one hole. Because it's so hard. I need to make another 2 copper set. And I mean, that's it really. You know, when you're making the notches, you will make it wider on the bottom than you are on the top. The bigger the notch, the more oxygen can get in. So if you got a really small notch and you're having trouble getting a coal, make the notch a little bigger. Okay, a little more oxygen in there might help you get a coal. I've had that happen to me before. Now, you're more than likely not going to get this on your first try. It might take you a very long time. I know it took me months and months and months, almost, actually a couple of years, to get my very first coal off the Bowdrill. And I'm just now starting to be able to do it with primitive cord. This isn't primitive cord, but I did it with primitive cord the other day. I wish I had videotaped it, but I didn't. And you might be seeing a lot of these barn house videos for the next couple days or so, because it's supposed to be rainy all week. And I had a giant notebook of all different videos I wanted to do, but you know, with it raining, I can't really do them. And I mean, I guess I could, but I really don't want to go out in that cold rain. Because it's fairly nippy today. But that's just a couple pointers with the Bowdrill. The best pointer I can give anybody is patience. You have got to have patience. You just gotta be patient. You're not gonna get it on your first try. You know, I've had it before where I'd get so frustrated that I would just and throw it. You know, the more you try, the more your arms gonna start burning. Whatever. But if you haven't seen my previous Bowdrill video, this should cover everything I didn't cover in that video. I mean, the proper posture is very simple. I like this. I like to have, actually I like to use my palm hooked on the top of my boot. That actually does help. And you can see on this spindle where it's starting to get polished. Alright. So it's been about 12 minutes, maybe 30 seconds would be my estimate. I will see y'all tomorrow, probably with another barn house video. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all then.